These are animals that fascinate and frighten me. Sharks.
They are a perfect machine.
I'm going to enter the territory of the killer shark.
Have you still got all your fingers?
Yeah, I've still got 10 now.
You never know what they're gonna do.
Along the way, I'll meet some unusual characters.
Kick them away! Stay close and kick them!
I'll be performing experiments, some scientific, some not really, to find out what makes sharks tick, until I'm ready to face a creature that terrifies us all. When Jaws came out of the cinema, I was just 13 years old. This film had an enormous impact on me and on all my friends. In fact, I thought it was so good, I went to see it twice, on the same day. The thing that was most interesting, though, is that prior to Jaws, none of us had ever even thought about sharks. After Jaws, we thought about nothing else. Back in the 1970s, it seemed as though the whole world was being swept along on a wave of man-eating shark mania. Since Jaws, sharks have become truly iconic animals. They're the stuff of nightmares, the subject of endless TV wildlife documentaries. And I have to admit, 30 years later, I'm still dead scared. But I've often wondered, what are these creatures really like? In fact, I don't know anything at all about them. For example, how scared should I really be? Well, it's time to find out. Sky One have dared me to go face to face with the real Jaws and confront my childhood fear. Go and find out, they said, what it is that makes the shark nature's supreme predator. So, I'm accepting the challenge and going right inside the world of the killer shark. And I'm beginning here at The Deep, a state-of-the-art aquarium a stone's throw from the North Sea. Marine biologist David Gibson is going to give me a crash course in some shark basics. Can you give us the key pub facts on sharks?
When people think of sharks, they think of the great white, or the tiger shark, or the bull shark, the ones that are regarded as being dangerous to humans, but there's over 700 species of shark in the world. Bear in mind, these things haven't really evolved much since 300 million years ago. That's because they reached a point where they were the ultimate animal. They didn't need to evolve any further.
Until now, I'd only heard of one shark, the great white, but now I'm struck by how many there are, and what silly names they have. Bonnethead, nurse shark, sand tiger, brown-banded bamboo, wobbegong. But naturally, it's the really dangerous ones I want to know about.
The misconception is they're mindless killers. That's far from the truth. They're very highly evolved predators. They're filling the same niche in the oceans that the tigers and the lions fill on the land.
3 times a week, divers at the Deep get into the water with these big cats of the sea. This sand tiger shark is ranked number 5 in the world's most dangerous shark ratings.
You go in there?
Yeah, we hand feed the sharks.
But why are they being fed dead fish when there are perfectly good live fish around? That's because sharks are the ocean's scavengers. They like dead stuff.
Have you still got all your fingers?
Yeah, I've still got 10 now.
Marvellous.
Yeah.
The mouth is the really scary bit of a shark. That's why the film was called Jaws, not Fin.
So, David, you've nicked some jaw bones off the side of Quint's boat.
Yeah.
They look pretty gruesome, actually. What's that one?
This is a short fin mako jaw.
Ah.
It projects its jaw forward. So the lower jaw will drop about 6 inches forward and come out about 3 or 4 inches as well. And that allows the animal to take a bigger bite.
This ability of the shark to dislocate its jaw means that it can grab some really big prey. My head, for instance. And presumably, the jaws of a typical killer shark are pretty powerful.
This is the jaw of a tiger shark. That's one of the species that's renowned to be quite dangerous to humans. You would think that a tiger shark would have a very, very powerful bite, crushing, searing bite.
In fact, the tiger shark, like all sharks, have jaws barely stronger than a human's.
Believe it or not, there are some domestic pets that get better biting force than a shark. A Rottweiler dog basically has got a far higher point pressure on its teeth than these guys will have.
Well, there you go. Then if you go swimming with sharks, always take your Rottweiler with you.
Surprisingly then, the jaws on a shark aren't actually that strong. Then again, their teeth are something rather special. They're not just stumpy molars like the ones we have. And to show you what I mean, I've devised a sophisticated experiment. This is a reciprocating saw. Now, as you can see, it bears some resemblance to the teeth of a great white shark. And because it's going backwards and forwards, it replicates its constant moving jaw action. So let's see what this does to Percy the pig. Just like a great white shark's teeth, the reciprocating saw's blade has triangular cutting points. And like the great white, its cutting edge is constantly moving, enabling it to scythe through this leg of pork with ease. Yeah, pretty gruesome. If that was your leg, you'd know about it. The great white has frightening teeth, certainly, but for having your arm off, I'm told there's nothing quite like the teeth of a tiger shark. Now, I realise this is getting a bit far-fetched, but this circular saw today is the tiger shark. Note, tiger shark-shaped teeth. I reckon the action of this circular saw's curved blade is similar to that of the teeth of a tiger shark. There, straight through the bone and everything. Hideous. Anyway, if you hear this noise, when you're out in the ocean, you'll know what it is. Yep, it'll be a shark with a power tool. But let's get back to the real thing, with Dr. Gibson's specimens.
Feel how sharp the serrations on the edge of the teeth are. And they cut.
It is like a serrated knife.
Exactly, yeah. You get over 200 serrated knives in this jaw. What it does is it saws from side to side. So it doesn't need a strong bite. It just needs to barely hold on until it cuts a lump of flesh off.
It's a whole Angus steakhouse in the mouth of an animal. It's remarkable.
Shark jaws are not as powerful as I expected, but the sharpness of the teeth more than makes up for that. What's more, if a shark loses a tooth, it has a limitless supply of reserves ready to roll into place. The sand tiger, for instance, gets through 20,000 teeth in a lifetime.
How many do we get through? 30 or 40?
30 or 40, I think, yeah, around about that.
It's a lot of sixpences from the shark
It is,
tooth fairy.
yeah.
Those teeth are like an endless supply of lethal ammunition. True, a Rottweiler has a more powerful jaw, and a lion has got bigger teeth. But if either of those animals loses a few gnashes, it's screwed. In my ratings, sheer number of teeth give the shark a winning score. Americans would pay a fortune for a mouth like that. But there's more. As a car enthusiast, I decide to look into the shark's power-to-weight ratio. Now, a typical great white shark could easily weigh a ton, and it will regularly do 25 miles an hour through the water when it's attacking its prey. And that means if I was struck by one, it would be like walking out on a zebra crossing and being run over by a typical small family hatchback. But I've also calculated that it's actually slightly worse than that. Because I'm in the water and there's water resistance, that essentially gives me more inertia, which makes the impact even more devastating. Rated for impact, it's a dead heat between the small car and the 1-ton shark. Being in the way of either is bad news. So in actual fact, all that stuff about teeth is completely irrelevant. The shark will kill me just by running into me. And this has me thinking, 25 miles an hour is pretty fast for something that might weigh as much as a ton and, by our standards, is moving through treacle. Well, to find out how these sharks move so quickly in the water, I've dressed up as Jacques Cousteau and moved into the dipper water of the lagoon pool with Dr. David. So, water, lots of resistance when you try and walk through it. You know, it's almost impossible. How does the shark do it?
Yeah, as you say, there's a lot of drag in water, and everything about the shark's anatomy and its body structure has been evolved to counteract that drag.
Well, obviously a pointy nose and a streamlined body have quite a lot to do with it, as do low-profile pectoral fins that reduce drag. And 90% of the shark's muscle mass is devoted towards providing forward thrust. That makes the shark something of a marine supercar. But the real surprise is something you can't actually see with the naked eye.
This is a brown-banded bamboo shark, or a type of carpet shark. And he's, yeah, perfectly safe. They normally eat small... Hello.
One of his mates.
Although they're not the sleek predator you would imagine, they're still typical sharks. Yeah, certainly.
Actually, that's a lot rougher than I was expecting.
Yeah.
It's got a nap to it as well. It's rougher that way than that way.
That's because the skin's actually covered in thousands of tiny teeth called dermal denticles.
It's these denticles that make the skin feel like sandpaper. And by placing a small piece of shark skin under a microscope, not the same shark, it's possible to see what they look like.
Oh, crikey. That's amazing. That's denticle central, that is.
These denticles show how the shark's bodywork has evolved for speed. That's because they reduce the drag that the shark creates as it cuts through the water. Coming up, I'll show you the very clever bit of science behind this speed at a very unlikely location. Then I'll pit myself against the fastest shark in the ocean and get in the water with one of the most dangerous. I've been challenged by Sky One to confront a creature that terrifies us all. I'm going to discover what makes sharks such perfect predators. Unexpectedly, the shark's skin is just as important as its teeth and its jaws. I've been doing a bit of my own shark skin research, and I've discovered that a shark moves through the water rather in the way a golf ball moves through the air. Well, I've always thought golf was a pretty pointless game, to be honest, and inhabited by very dangerous creatures, but maybe we found a purpose for it. Right, I have two golf balls to experiment with. This is your typical dimpled type, and this one is completely smooth. Now, apparently, the dimpled ball creates less drag and will go further through the air. The smooth one creates more aerodynamic drag, and it won't go as far. That is the theory. Let's find out. The dimples on this golf ball should work on the same principle as the denticles on a shark's skin. This is Aaron. He's an ace golfer. He's going to hit my two balls with exactly the same force, using exactly the same bat, and I'm going to measure how far they go. First, we'll test the smooth golf ball. Missed. Very nice. Right, I'll go and see how far that went. Right, there's the ball. Now, using this special range-finding device and pointing it at the red flag on our tee, I can tell you that the smooth golf ball travelled, wait for it, 166 yards. Right, Aaron, hit the dimpled one, please. There it is. That's clearly gone further. The dimpled golf ball went 270 yards, so that's over 100 yards further. So that theory seems to stand up rather well. But is this rough skin advantage really as effective with something moving through water? Well, swimsuit designers reckon so.
Looks like fun.
This is James Hickman. He's a world champion swimmer. He's very strong, he's very manly, but he's wearing a leotard for ballet dancing.
Thanks.
Why?
No, it's a Speedo fast skin suit, actually. It's been developed to help me swim even faster through the water. They've developed a fabric which is like shark skin.
Now
You can, indeed. It's rough. It's not as smooth as people expect.
it does just feel a bit, like nylon, really. But I'm assured that swimsuit boffins have spent years perfecting this artificial shark skin.
Let me show you this. Now you can see the shark skin effect. So this is rough and smooth fabric, which helps reduce drag. When you dive in, you have turbulence all around you doing this all the time. And when you're in there, it's very turbulent. But this makes it go smoothly by creating a flow around the body.
How much difference does it make?
Well, it can make a lot of difference. If you're just wearing normal baggy swimming shorts that you normally swim in, they create a lot of drag.
Just how much of a drag are baggy shorts? James is going to swim a 50 metres freestyle sprint. .09 seconds in big baggy shorts. Right, can you put your shark suit on? Next, 50 metres in the fast suit. .08 to beat in the shark suit. Viewed underwater, you can see how much faster Hickman's going. 25.41. So your shark skin technology has made you 2 and a bit seconds faster.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite a lot over 50 metres. But now for the question on everyone's lips. So, wearing his rather fetching fast skin, could an expert swimmer like Mr. Hickman there be a match for a real shark? Or, for that matter, for me. To find out, we're staging a unique 50-metre sprint with a special staggered start. First off, in lane 2 will be me, honed, as you can see, to the height of hydrodynamic perfection. Second, in lane 3, James Hickman. And last to go, in lane 4, the shark. Not a real shark, it's our custom-built pedal-powered fin, which will hurtle down the pool in predatory pursuit. It's calibrated to match the average attack speed of the short fin mako shark, the fastest creature in the sea. This is science. Obviously, it's in the interests of research that I have a head start. I'm nearly halfway down the pool when James Hickman dives in. In less than 10 seconds, he's powering past me. Then the mako fin is launched and quickly gets up to 23 miles per hour, an effortless speed for this shark. Hickman's lead is gobbled up in a flash.
Is that a fin here? Bugger.
What seems like half an hour later, I finally make it to the finish.
So there you go. All your Olympic training was a complete waste of time.
The shark wins.
Still get eaten by a shark.
A short fin mako shark is capable of bursts of speed in excess of 50 miles per hour. Not as fast as a cheetah, which can do 70 miles per hour, but remember, that's not in water. Factor in water resistance, and I reckon that pound for pound, the shark is the faster animal. So, sharks are fast, powerful, and have an unlimited supply of extremely sharp teeth. Good enough reasons, I'd say, for avoiding any shark-infested waters. This is the island of Grand Bahama. A great place for a holiday. But what I'm really interested in is what's out there in the murky depths. So, this is paradise. The sun, the endless expanse of white sand, the unfathomable Caribbean Sea. And yet, that same sea is full of arch predators, sharks. That is the Sea of Death. And I'm expected to get up close and personal with some sharks in the open ocean. But before I can do that, I'll have to learn to scuba dive.
I'm wearing something called an Arga mask, which covers my whole face and means I can speak underwater. It's really quite remarkable. Goodbye.
My first day's training concludes with a grueling theory exam taken in a dark and oppressive classroom.
Well, how do you say hello underwater if you can't do that? That?
Well, actually, that means moray eel. This is octopus.
Yeah.
This is turtle.
What shark? Oh, it is? Yeah, like a fin.
Yeah.
Shark.
And big shark.
So you go... That means, look out, shark.
I'm out of air.
I'm out of balls.
I passed my exam with an impressive mark of 94%. Next day, it's time for the real thing.
And now my gorgeous pouting instructress, Danielle, is going to take me out there in the real ocean to do some safety checks and all sorts of other things to ensure I won't drown before the shark eats me. Any sharks?
Sharks have been known to hang out in these areas.
Is it too late to change my mind?
Yes, it's very much too late. It's now or nothing, man.
I put my gear on and leap into what I hope won't be shark-infested waters. Underwater, I discover a pleasantly shark-free environment. Down on the seabed, Danielle tests me on a series of emergency drills. Then we explore a shipwreck. Okay, it's just a little sunken fishing boat, but Jacques Cousteau had to start somewhere. Half an hour later, I surface, undrowned and uneaten.
It's fantastic. I know you guys see fish all the time, but those blue ones and those yellow ones are just remarkable.
Yeah?
You swam right up to my face and spoke to me.
Oh, what did you say?
Something really fishy.
I'm now a qualified diver.
That could have attracted a shark, couldn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good job we got out. Otherwise I'd have no leg at all.
Right.
Back on dry land, I begin to wonder whether a shark could really have detected me that easily.
The great thing about Jaws the book is that the author, the late Peter Benchley, gave you a lot of information about how sharks work, and it was all stuff you didn't get in the film. Here's a bit from near the beginning where the woman gets eaten. 100 yards offshore, the fish sensed a change in the sea's rhythm. It did not see the woman, nor yet did it smell her. Running within the length of its body were a series of thin canals, filled with mucus and dotted with nerve endings, and these nerves detected vibrations and signaled the brain. The fish turned towards shore. Scared? I am.
Benchley was describing an extraordinary mechanism in the shark's arsenal of senses called the lateral line system. This enables sharks to detect the vibrations of another animal in the water up to 100 meters away. Now, I think I need to speak to someone who knows all about this special shark sense.
I'm on.
Good morning.
Captain AJ is a spear fisherman. He works in the heart of shark territory and hunts fish with a spear on a catapult.
And you pull back, just like a big slingshot, and you're following your prey. Once you let go, this spear is gone.
But the vibrations from a speared fish can act like a red alert for the shark's lateral line system.
The problem is the body and the tail starts beating on the side of the spear. And right, the shark senses a sick, wounded fish, easy prey.
So this is all their sensory stuff coming into play now?
Correct. They're going to pick that up, and they can also sense approximately a teaspoon of blood and approximately 100,000 gallons of water. You're literally ringing the dinner bell.
Now that's worrying. As well as detecting vibrations, sharks can home in on the blood from one knee wound in a whole ocean.
When you speak to boffins and sort of shark marine biologist people, they always say that actually sharks are completely harmless. They're not interested in humans at all. Would you agree with that?
I'd like to have them come out and dive some areas around the Bahamas with me and see if I couldn't change their mind, because after 30 years of doing this, I'd really have to disagree.
Captain AJ never drops his guard when sharks are in the vicinity.
You never know what they're going to do, and if you become complacent, they're actually going to come in and bite you. I had a tiger shark come down on me where it was getting so close, you can literally see the teeth sticking out of the gums. It's really intimidating having this creature that's probably 1,500 pounds coming at you.
Yeah, brilliant.
So, not only do sharks have fantastic mechanics, but it turns out they have an amazing sensory system as well. Apparently, sharks can detect electrical fields as weak as 5 billionths of a volt, which is extraordinary. And cunning too, because it helps the shark to find fish hiding in the sand. But what about the electrical field that I'm giving off? If I'm in the water with sharks, could they detect that? This has given me an idea for an experiment. I just have to ring room service. Hello, room service. Oh, excellent. A lovely, fresh, human biometric activity interrogator and some lager.
There we go, sir.
Thank you. And are these my boffins?
They are indeed.
Superb work. Thank you. Look here, have a shilling. These two boffins are in fact biomedical engineers, and they're wiring me up to the catchily titled Human Biometric Activity Interrogator. Now, this may look like some sort of torture device, but actually there is no electricity rushing through these electrodes into my body. It's actually going the other way. All this kit is measuring the electrical signals that I'm giving off. My muscles and body organs all produce electricity. The heart emits a constant pulse, and even just a tiny movement of my eyeball sends out a signal. If I clench this arm muscle, like I might do if I was swimming along, you get a signal as well. That's the sort of stuff that sharks will pick up. That's remarkable. I'm typically giving off just 1/4 of a volt. Could a shark pick that up? And if it can, how? We can't do that after all. My selfless quest for even greater shark knowledge has brought me to the small, wet, grey and notoriously miserable island of Bimini. Dr. Samuel Gruber is the top shark scientist in the world. He's been studying these creatures for more than 40 years and understands their senses like no one else. What's the thing that really does it for you about sharks?
I look at a shark and I see something perfectly honed by millions of years of evolution. Aquatic animals are living in a constant haze. It's like if we were walking around in a fog. Well, you should know about that being from London.
I knew that was coming. Why did I know that was coming? Yes, the old pea super.
Exactly. If they're going to be super predators, they have to be able to get through that pea soup with other sense organs.
Before I get into the water with some sharks, I want Dr. Gruber to show me how their electrical detectors work. Now, you and I have cuddly dogs and cats as pets. He keeps baby lemon sharks. Now, the shark doctor and his assistant Steve have brought me out to this special pen where we're going to see just how brilliant these sharks' prey detecting senses are.
Sure. What we want to show here today, demonstrate, is the phenomenal electrical sense that these guys have.
Steve is burying 2 tubes in the middle of the shark pen. Some smelly fish blood, coloured with pink dye, will be pumped through one. Through the other, a tiny electrical current will be conducted into the water. This electric field is the equivalent of what, say, a small fish would give off.
Yeah, the amount of electricity is hesitatingly small, in the order of a billionth or less of a volt per centimeter. That's a B, billionth with a B.
First, the fish blood is pumped into the shark pen. The shark's acute sense of smell is immediately stimulated.
You see how the sharks go to the pink? Now, turn the electric field on.
Suddenly, the lemon sharks turn away from the fish blood and start biting at the area where the electrical current is being transmitted.
That's it. The sharks moved away from the pink blood and onto the clear electric field.
That's amazing. The shark's incredibly receptive electro-senses attract them like a moth to what they see as a bright flashing light. But where exactly are these receptors on the shark's body? Oh, he's actually going to pick it up. Within moments, the doc expertly calms this frisky lemon shark by putting it into a kind of trance.
All you do is turn them over, like so.
Why's that?
Well, they go into a state called tonic immobility. Their senses get mixed up. Up is down, down is up, and as a result, they go to sleep.
Amazingly, the shark lies motionless upside down, allowing me to have a really close look. Well, how does it pick up the electrical signals?
Well, it has these wonderful ampullae of Lorenzini. You see this little pattern on his snout, those little black dots? See that right on his snout?
What looks like a faint 5 o'clock shadow on this shark are the ampullae of Lorenzini. Every shark has these tiny, jelly-filled pores on its snout. It's these minuscule black holes that are the electrosense receptors.
And they're like electrical wires. That allows electric fields from the natural ocean to penetrate deep into their body.
Sharks also have an excellent field of vision, and their eyes are 10 times more sensitive to light than human eyes. They even have eyelids.
Now look at this, watch this. You see his?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you see that? That's winking from the bottom up.
Extraordinary. A winking shark.
Take your hand and rub it around that fin.
Look at that. I'm holding a shark. I'll tell my mates about this down the pub, having added 4 or 5
Tell them
feet.
the camera lens makes it look smaller than it is.
Yeah. It's actually 8 feet long, and my hands are enormous. To complete my shark senses education, Dr. Gruber is going to take me to a special location. I'm hoping his somewhat unconventional approach will bring me my first encounter with sharks in the wild. We've come to a remote mangrove swamp, known only to a select few. This secluded spot is apparently a haven for young sharks and the ideal place to demonstrate the full range of their sensory capabilities. And the doc has brought along something to lure them in. Dead mackerel, the Big Mac of the underwater world.
The scent is flowing out toward where the sharks are, and it should attract them to us.
The doc casts his magic spell, and within minutes there are baby lemon sharks everywhere, swimming just a few feet from my ankles.
So what we're looking at here are little lemon sharks that have no experience with dead bait or food like this at all. They're going on their natural instincts. But once we start intervening by making splashes and having them associate that with food, that is learning.
They can pick up the sounds of splashing through tiny openings on their heads that lead to internal ears. And as sound travels 4.5 times faster and further in water than in air, it means that sharks can home in on prey from as much as half a mile away. The doc lures the lemon sharks in and then starts teasing them.
You can't have it. You can't have it. You ain't gonna have it. Hey, cute little guy.
Then it's my turn.
He's looking at it. Wiggle it.
And it seems I have the magic touch as well.
Perfect.
It's the shark's senses that make them such great predators. In fact, you could argue that sharks are actually superior to human beings. Where we have 5 senses, they have 7. It's time to up the shark ante, and the doc has something in mind. En route, we see a school of amazing rays. I'd quite like to swim around with those. Instead, the doc takes me to a spot called Triangle Rocks. As I get my diving gear on, there are already plenty of reef sharks zigzagging in front of the boat. Those lemon sharks were tiddlers by comparison. These are 6 to 7 feet long. They could easily take my leg off, and he's expecting me to get in with them. I'm on a mission in search of killer sharks somewhere in the Bahamas, and I think I've found them.
Now if they come close, kick those sharks away.
With eminent shark scientist Dr. Sam Gruber in charge, I feel immensely reassured. The doc has his students hanging from a line in the water just a few feet from these reef sharks. This is the standard punishment for anyone handing in a late essay. I plunge in and hope the sharks don't confuse my pale knees for some of the bait. I join the line. The doc assures me that the sharks won't bother us.
Kick them away. Don't let them come close. You gotta show them who's boss.
By now, the sharks are in a real feeding frenzy. Dr. Gruber throws shark bait at us.
Kick them!
For a laugh.
No kidding. Stay close together. You're separating. Stay close and kick them.
Underwater, it's an extraordinary spectacle. We make our way down to the seabed for a different view. Everywhere I look, there are sharks. Fortunately, they're only interested in the bait. Gasping in amazement soon empties my tank of all its air. It was truly fantastic. Hundreds of them swimming around. Fantastic. I can't believe it's possible. Swimming around with sharks. It's time to ratchet up the shark danger factor to the highest rating. This is the tiger shark, the most feared and deadly predator in the Caribbean. But to find a shark like this, I'm gonna need a bigger boat. On board are a crack team of shark hunters, led by Captain Paul Whipple. Immediately, I decide to inspect the special equipment required to protect me from marauding tiger sharks. I think this is a shark cage. It's made out of old plastic drain pipes and some bits of chicken wire that they nicked off a farm. It's really confidence building. Hang on a minute. A shark can get through this gap, can't it?
It's a little one.
Little one.
Could.
Well, that's not that little. That's still like a big reef shark or something.
Well, yeah.
What happens if it gets in? And why isn't there a lid?
It's a fine question. They're not interested in the cage. They're interested in the food, so.
Well, exactly, and they can get inside the cage and get the food.
Oh, the food's not in the cage.
Have any of you ever used this?
Yeah, oh yeah. We used it last week.
Take your glasses off and say that, look at me in the eye.
We used it last week.
Was somebody in it?
Myself, yeah.
I remain to be convinced. Next morning, the pirate's lady casts off and sets out for the open sea. My expedition to find the biggest and most dangerous shark in the Caribbean is underway. On board with us is Gary Adkison, a man who specialises in face-to-face shark encounters. He's going to be my killer shark mentor on this voyage. Right, to see how much this bloke Gary really knows about his subject, I'm going to challenge him to a game of shark top trumps. Don't look. Are you ready?
I guess I am.
Maximum length, 594 centimetres.
I only have 300 centimeters. What kind of shark is that?
Have a guess.
That's got to be a Carcharinus, white shark.
He's right.
He's big, big guy.
But he's lost.
This looks like my ex-mother-in-law.
Oh.
Yeah, I got you this one. I got
No,
you.
you haven't.
No, I got.
Maximum length, 1,370 centimetres. It is, ladies and gentlemen, the whale shark.
The whale shark.
Gary might know his shark facts, but he lacks experience at this game. Despite a late comeback from Gary, I triumph. As the sun sinks, we approach our destination, the ominously named Tiger Beach. Gary has dived here before and shows us some footage of what it's like. This remote sandbar has a fearsome reputation, and in just a few hours, I'll be down there. Daylight reveals what appears to be just another expanse of ocean. I thought we were actually in the middle of nowhere here, but the captain tells me this is Tiger Beach, which is famous presumably for tiger sharks.
The reason it's called a beach is we have a white sand bottom around us and only about 5 meters of water.
How big is a tiger shark then?
It's a powerful shark. It's a very strong shark with the capability of cutting through the shell of a turtle. The only other one that could compare would be a great white.
These tiger sharks are certain to be much bigger than any shark I've so far encountered. Some of them can be as much as 15 feet long.
There's certain buttons that you don't want to push in this animal. In their mind, anything on the surface is sick, unhealthy, or wounded. And in silhouette, we kind of look turtleish, and that happens to be their favorite food. They're going to investigate that.
Attracting tiger sharks involves putting a lot of bait in the water. At Tiger Beach, being close to that bait can be extremely dangerous.
I didn't see one come up behind me, and he mouthed my scuba tank from behind. And when I reacted and turned around, he was all over the camera and mouthing it and bumping it and basically talking to me, communicating as they do with each other to back off. This is my pile of fish, and back off.
Gary then watched as the same shark made a beeline for one of his fellow divers.
You never lose respect for this animal because he is a very powerful, intelligent animal.
And they're not fussy about what they eat.
If the person is not in any shape to defend himself, yes, they'll feed on a human being.
Right. With the crew assembling the dodgy shark cage, still without a lid, I note, all that remains is to try to attract the sharks. Right, so this is chum.
Yeah.
It stinks. What is it?
That's good. It's a tiger shark or a lemon shark. That's aphrodisiac. That's a vintage port.
Now the baiting and waiting begins.
I've been ladling this stuff for about half an hour now. It's a mixture of mashed up mackerel and fish blood and general crud, and I haven't seen a single shark. But let's give him a chance.
Come on, Sharky.
Time goes by.
These sharks are playing hard to get.
Time goes by so slowly.
We've got a tiger shark off the stern, right out there.
At last, the sharks have arrived, mostly lemon sharks, but these are big adults, 7 to 8 feet long, unpredictable and excited by the bait. Lurking just beyond them, the dark outline of a tiger shark. Suddenly, the tiger decides it's time to show the other sharks who's boss. That one must be at least 10 feet long. Well, it's now or never. Time to go face to face with the biggest killer shark in these waters.
Right, here we go then. Cage, water, sharks. I can't think of anything glib or clever or ironic to say, so I'll just put my speaky mask on and I'll get on with it. It's been great. Hope you've enjoyed the programme so far. Now for some light music.
Inside the cage, Danielle and I peer through the mesh. All around us are big sharks.
Look at that one right underneath. I can almost touch it.
Yeah, that one's a lemon shark. It's a pretty big female.
Bloody hell, look at the size of that one out there, look.
Large lemon sharks are circling close to the cage, but the tiger sharks are more wary.
I think I saw a tiger in the distance, but it's receded into the murky waters. Hang on, that's a tiger, isn't it? That's a tiger shark.
There's a tiger shark right here. Yeah, it's coming to the side of the cage.
That's a fantastic looking fish.
Look at its eyes. Its eyes are the most amazing feature, I think.
I can see the stripes as well, very faintly. Oh, I got a great look straight down his mouth then. That was magnificent. Was no more than 6 inches from his eyeball then.
The senses of these sharks are highly aroused. If the sounds and vibrations underwater weren't enough, the smell of the bait is like a magnet to them. Now they're close enough not only to see me, but even perhaps to detect my electricity.
Well, big tiger shark right in front of me. That's fantastic. Look at that.
I emerged from the shark cage knackered, but exhilarated.
That was very good. Big tiger shark's face right up to my nose to say hello. He was dead scared though.
My big shark encounter is over. Time to compare notes with Danielle.
How did I do?
Oh, you did great, man. They would just come right up to the cage. There was a couple of times I'm like, oh my goodness, they're going to get in here with us.
I thought one of the tiger shark does look like it's come from some dark corner of your subconscious where horror dwells.
Yeah,
it's an evil-looking thing.
This has to be one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Coming face to face with real sharks has completely changed my view of them.
Over the past few weeks, I have put myself in mortal danger. I could have been hit in the face by a golf ball, washed overboard and drowned, knocked unconscious by the boom, or crushed to death by a falling coconut. Or even, some of you might be thinking, eaten by a killer shark.
But here's what I've learned. Yes, sharks are the perfect predator, consummate killers, but fortunately, I'm not really on the menu.
So sitting down here on the floor of the ocean is not only a truly wonderful place to be, it's also a really safe one. Goodbye.
Over on Sky Movies premiere tomorrow night at 8, a group of college school dropouts impress mum and dad when they're accepted to university. Does it really matter that it's made up? Next tonight here on Sky 3 though, angry animals and owners in Asbo fever.